So let me mention real quick before I get into this list, these champions aren't necessarily like the top tier, best win rate champions. These are the champions that I just like to play and worked for me, and the reason I'm making this video is as someone who finally actually placed in Bronze 4 and then climbed all the way out of Bronze, I kind of have some experience playing these champions in the actual Chaos Trenches that is Bronze. So I'm making this video because this is something of a realistic for me video to make that might help somebody listening to this, instead of listening to somebody who's just talking about what the top tier champions are that you might not have any idea how to play anyway. Now, for this first champion, that champion will be Bran. And the reason I put Bran in this video, even though mage supports aren't necessarily the best thing to play right now, if you're getting auto-filled to support, you might be coming from the mid lane or from somewhere else, and as such, you're just used to doing damage and being something of a carry threat. And Bran, in my opinion, is one of the best carry threat supports you can play for mainly two reasons. The first is flexibility. He is very flexible in the way you can play him with the type of AD carry you play with. If you're playing with an aggro AD carry that wants to play aggressive like a Draven, you can go in with the W harass, landing the stuns with his combo, and setting up kills for the Draven, who you don't want to steal kills from, by the way. Or if you're playing with an AD carry who's kind of passive, they're either afraid to go in or they're getting chunked down too much, your W makes a good zoning tool as well, which you can use to either harass the enemy lane opponents or just keep them away from your AD carry, try and freeze the wave near your tower, and let your AD carry farm that way, and then be more useful in the mid game. The second reason is because out of a lot of mage supports, I like Bran specifically when it comes to dealing with enemy tanks, because there is a chance that your AD carry, go figure, will pick an AD champion. But then your jungler, mid laner, and top laner might also pick AD champions, and if the enemy plays a tank of any kind, even though tanks don't always work that well in low elo because it's not always the coordination, you're still going to be playing a mage whose passive alone is actually really good against tanks. So not only are you playing an AP threat against that tank that might want to build all AD, like a Malphite or a Rammus, you're also playing a champion that wants to get their items as well, is really good at dealing with burning down those tanks, so suddenly your team isn't completely screwed as well. Now, if I'm going to be mentioning mage supports and magic damage dealing supports, for number 4, who I'm also going to mention then, is Morgana. And really it comes down to being able to land the magic shield at the right times. Also hitboxes, which we'll talk about for several other champions in this list as well. Binding doesn't have the greatest hitbox. You can take advantage of this in low elo where they might still be standing still when they're trying to like CS a wave or something like that and make your job easier landing that skill shot. But if they're not, even so, just put it in the general direction and you'll probably hit them and it'll last on them for 10,000 years. But furthermore, if you're going against magic damage threats or hook champions, as long as you're able to land that magic shield, you'll be able to negate that and as such kind of ruin those champions' days. Now Blitzcrank, who throws out his hook and has the black shielded, is suddenly useless until his hook is back up again. And there's a chance by the time his hook is back up again, your black shield is back up again. So really Morgana's purpose in this list is for her black shield if nothing else. And the hook and the bindings if you can land them. But even if you can't land them, I primarily like them specifically for the black shield to negate other champions. Like pretty much you pick Morgana and the enemy support probably has to think twice if they really want to play threats, Blitzcrank or Thresh. I just fused them together, whatever. Because then they have to wonder if you're good enough to land that ability or not and just ruin why you picked that pick. And if you can, then it's fantastic. It's a point and click ability, just stay with your AD carry and be able to do that. Obviously though, you can have some impact because if you can land those bindings, you can also be as useful as that Blitzcrank and Thresh also can be and set up kills for your team as well. Now, speaking of hitboxes and hooks, this next champion, number 3 if you will, is going to in fact be Blitzcrank, because if you're not playing against a Morgana, there is a chance you could be doing the same things as Morgana in terms of landing that hook, setting up kills for your teams on priority targets, or Morgana, however you want to pronounce it, I just realized, whatever way you want to pronounce it. But with Blitzcrank, the thing I like about him is, he's not really the best peeling support, but he is one of the better hard engage supports in lower elos because of the hook. A lot of people fear the hook a lot more in lower elos than they do in higher elos, not because in higher elos the hook can't have the same impact, but because that thing is just, for one, the hitbox is janky. A lot of people will rather rage about the hook hitbox in lower elos than worry about how to dodge it. And I'm not going to actually bash people too much for that because even in higher elos, that can be kind of questionable. So it's whatever. but it's exactly that reason why Blitzcrank can be so useful and lower elos especially, because people will fear the hook even more so than getting hooked. Just you running up around the wave and acting like you're going to hook and then never hooking will demand some respect, unless of course you're caught out of position or the enemy bot lane is levels ahead of you or a gank is coming or something like that, right? But otherwise, people are going to fear you putting out that hook more than you even landing that hook. There's also the level 2 to talk about really quick, because once you hit level 2, you can pretty much win the lane with a champion like Blitzcrank if you play it right. You get the E, and as such, when you hit level 2, be in a position where as soon as you hit level 2, you can pretty much run up to the enemy like bot laner, even the support if they're not too tanky. At level 1, they shouldn't be too tanky, and then E them to get a guaranteed hook onto them, ignite them, and hopefully if your AD carry has any sense whatsoever, they're going in with you to try and get that kill, or at least chunk them out, make them blow some summoners, make them take their pots, just put them out of lane, and as such you already have the level 2 advantage, and as such you can just like either try and freeze the wave, get more experience, zone them off, whatever the case is, because that level 2 is super important actually. It doesn't matter what the enemy bot lane is, if they're both level 1 to your level 2, you're just going to have more base stats, more damage, and more abilities than they're going to have. They're not going to be, it's not like a Leona at level 1 is going to be able to counter you with a Zenith Blade and stun you and ult you. It's level 1, you have the advantage. So if you can make use of that, that's also why this next champion on my list is on the list as well, that being Thresh, who in my opinion is a better version of Blitzcrank, and actually probably my go-to right now favorite support to play, because he does a lot more than Blitzcrank. He can be engaged, but like Brand, he can also be played passively and for more appealing sense. He, like Blitzcrank, can be effective in the level 2. You go up, you flay them backwards towards you, you land the hook. You have to look for that level 2, of course, but as such, if you do, maybe you can get an early flash, something like that. But what I like about Thresh more is you can make the decision if you hook the right target or not. With Blitzcrank, you accidentally hook the wrong target, that's too bad. So honorable mention, for example, I like playing Alistar into Blitzcranks because if they hook me by mistake, I can just get a free pulverize without having to hit the headbutt, and then I still have the headbutt to either knock a priority target into my team or peel if someone goes and jumps my AD carry and I want to go back for them and try and save them. Thresh, meanwhile, if you land the hook on the wrong target, you don't have to go in. You can just let them go. But if you land the hook on the right target, you can go in, flay them, box them, lantern like your jungle down into you so you can get the combo in. It's like a Lee Sin or something. Thresh just does a lot of things that are very useful from the support role that can help your team, and not just the bottom lane, but when you roam as well. If you're roaming somewhere, you're trying to gank mid lane, your jungler's nearby, you throw them the lantern, pull them towards you, and just cut off the enemy mid laner. Suddenly in the mid lane, it's a party. It's a 1v3. Hopefully you get the kill on that one and you're not the 3 dying because they're stupid fed or something, but my point is he has a lot of impact in the things he can do. His peeling tools, like the flay, like the lantern, can be used offensively, and he has a bunch of different things in his kit that is very useful to be able to go aggressive and go passive, keep people safe, and also make sure you get kills onto other people. Now, my final pick, I don't really know if they should be on this list. It's why it's not really a 1 through 5 list, as in 5 is the worst and 1 is the best. It's kind of just 5 in any order. That will be Janna. And after the recent changes, I'm not so sure people want to be playing Janna right now. I know. But at the same time, I like Janna because if I want to play passive, meaning I'm playing with a certain champion that needs to like scale up, they definitely don't want to play too aggro, and I just need to protect them, Janna is still my go-to shield bot champion. I don't care what Riot tries to do by making her auto attacks do whatever, I'm still going to be playing Janna passively, and I'm still going to just be a shield bot. I'm maxing E anyway, and that's all I want to do with Janna. I don't want to be aggressive with Janna. I don't want to risk dying with Janna, because my job as Janna is just to press the shield on the AD carry and keep them alive. And I know at higher elo especially, they don't like when supports babysit their AD carry, but if you babysit your AD carry in low elo, there's a good chance even if they do something dumb, Janna will keep them alive and you'll be able to peel for them, and they won't, give up gold to the enemy team for free. Janna, in my experience and in my opinion, was one of the first supports I started playing when I purposely started playing support so I get some experience in that role as well, for that exact reason. I played with a Vayne once a while ago, in which case all I had to do was stay attached to Vayne's hip, keep Vayne alive, peel for Vayne, get the redemption, get the heal, always use my tornadoes on people that got too close to Vayne at point blank range, and Vayne meanwhile will then just kill everybody. And that's the point of support, right? Most likely you're not the carry. You're there to help support other people carry you and win the game, but they need your support to do that. They need your protection to do that, and Janna, in my opinion, is one of the best champions still to do that if you just completely ignore what Riot's trying to do and still play Janna as a shield bot. The thing I like to say is if I want to play someone aggressive, then I would just play something like Thresh or Brand instead. I'm playing Janna because I just want to be a shield bot. That's all I want to do. So it's just too bad. Now, that is my quote-unquote top 5 list of supports that I use to escape bronze. These champions might not be the best for you to play in the sense as if you've never played these champions before and have no idea what they do. Some of them are a little bit maybe more mechanically intuitive than others in terms of like landing the hooks and stuff, but these might be champions you might want to look at that you might have not looked at before because they're not considered top tier depending on like the elo or the region you're looking at. And as such, I'd still recommend them anyway because it really comes down to you being able to play those champions and understand what you're doing more so than the champions themselves. Honestly, if you are a Vayne main, like 1,000, 100,000, million mastery on it, you could probably make support Vayne work, for example, right? But as such, these are champions that are more traditional-esque supports that might gel well more with team comps, and as such make your life a little bit easier, because the thing might be for you if you're in bronze, you might be climbing on your main roles, but then you get auto for the support, it loses you the game, and you just get tilted, and that's kind of the problem. So you're looking for supports you can play while we're into the last month of ranked before the ranked season ends in early November. So that's all for this video. Feel free to ask me more questions about these champions specifically if you have them. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video as well. But that's all for this video. I don't know which video will be next, because life will be quite a mess. So until next time, take care from the Falgodai FS. Thank you for watching.